Hello, welcome to the first ever video on this channel and the first video of a new Let's Play for Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts. We're going to be tackling the Spanish Empire today and we're going to do Death or Glory. So we've got a new, very aggressive admiral that's taken charge and he is going to basically want to go to war with every country and conquer the world. So we're going to see how long we last, which I expect won't be that long. We're going to start on 1890, normal difficulty because it's going to be difficult enough. What we're going to basically do is every turn when my political action hasn't been used, I will use it to reduce our relations with at least one country. And then we should hopefully spend most of the time at war and probably get wrecked. I'm not an expert at the game, so the ships, we're going to build some ships that probably aren't optimal, but just want to have some fun with it and see how far we get. So let's jump in. I'm going to go AI historical just to make it slightly harder. We'll auto-generate our fleet and see where we end up. And going to leave it on normal difficulty because it's going to be hard as it is. The Spanish economy is one of the smaller ones and they already have quite a sort of widespread and spread out empire, which will be difficult to kind of get our army experience and army logistics up anyway. So we'll start a new campaign here and see how we get on. So I've played Spain a few times. They do start, like I say, with one of the smaller economies. Makes it difficult to keep up technology-wise with some of the other countries. And what we're going to hopefully do is have a sort of a main powerful fleet, which will kind of firefight, and then we will use some smaller and very cheap destroyers and light cruisers just to kind of keep the tonnage in the empire and the colonies up, so we can hopefully try and keep our army logistics score up and not get invaded all the time. It's going to be an issue with if we go to war with France, who obviously already have a front with us and might be able to invade the Spanish mainland. If that happens, we're probably not going to be able to do very well on that. So we'll jump in once this is loaded. Okay, so we're in, so let's have a quick look at the Spanish Empire as it is. So we've got mainland Spain, got a few territories in Western Africa here, Canary Islands and Western Sahara. It's pre-Spanish American War, so we still have Cuba and Puerto Rico. That's it in the Caribbean, and if we look over in the east, we still hold the Philippines and then a few of the sort of more isolated Pacific islands. See if we've got anything in the Eastern Pacific. No, so Western sort of South Pacific islands and scattered here and there. Let's see how we are looking on the economy. So down the bottom, our GDP is 14 billion? Slightly more than Japan, but I think other than that we are one of the smallest ones. Yes, the second smallest. And in terms of ships, what have we got in regards to the AI? So we've actually ended up with 41 ships, 5 battleships, 10 armoured cruisers, 18 light cruisers, and 8 torpedo boats with 1 building. So let's see what designs we've ended up with. And okay, so our battleship, let's go have a look at that. So bit of a weird design, which is from the AI, which is fine. That's kind of what we knew we were going to get. So what do we got? So we got 4 10.3 inch guns, 2 6.1 inch guns, a bit random, and then we've got some smaller calibers, but not many guns at all. And this is a interesting hull. What's our speed that we've got here? Where is speed? 15.4 knots, so she's pretty slow as well. Armor 10.3 main belt, so not a great ship, quite a small tonnage, but we actually smelt with quite small shipyards capacity on Spain as well, another disadvantage, but we'll have a look at that in a second. We'll probably start and then very quickly design a new battleship and see what we can do to improve on that. What have we got here? So we've got that as our battleships, our, our armoured cruisers. Look like they're undergunned as well. So we have a couple of 6-inch guns, and then again 8, 3.3, and 6, 2.5. So not very well gunned on this. This turret looks a bit weird, sat on its own in that massive space where we could put a barbette. Again, let's have a look at speed. Not too bad. So we've got 21 knots really on that, which is pretty good. Very deep draft. What do we got armor wise? 2.6-inch main belt. We're not going to be stopping much with that. So that's that. Again, probably redesign. We could possibly refit some of these designs and put some bigger guns on, but we're already sort of towards the limit on our tonnage on the ships. The reason I wanted to go with auto generate was just so we got some weird and wonderful designs, and almost like we've just taken over as Admiral. So our light cruisers look a little bit better from first glance. So 19.2 knots, and okay, so we've got 16 4.5-inch guns and 4 2.3. So this is slightly better. Our gunnery obviously is going to be awful straight away, but yeah, we can work with these. And no armor. Obviously, it's a kind of a protected cruiser design with well, a little bit of deck and forebelt protection, but nothing on the main belt, which will be interesting to say the least. And obviously, we have very poor technology to start off. Yeah, we'll see how that. So they'll kind of work, I suppose, just for building a few and sticking them out in the colonies and see how we get on. They hopefully won't have to meet up. We'll have a few with the main fleet just for scouting and screening. But yeah, I'm sure they'll get sunk in droves. And then we've got a little torpedo boat here, which has a couple of torpedo tubes, and is that 5 2-inch guns? Yeah, okay, and 25.5. So again, I mean, torpedo boats in the early game are fairly disposable. We'll just use them to harass and finish off any crippled battleships or armored cruisers, really. And then what have we got in terms of numbers? So we have 5 of those battleships, which we'll see how they do. 10.3, it's not too bad, but we're probably not going to be able to hit anything at this point, and they are very, very slow. We'll try and get a new design up to 17 knots, 18 knots maybe, and then we've got I think we had 8 armoured cruisers. They're pretty useless. I'm not sure what we're going to do with those. And then some light cruisers. How many did we have of those? So we have got 10 armor cruisers and 18 light cruisers. So we've got a fairly decent, in terms of size, I guess, fleet. Spread around at the moment. Navy power ratings is pretty poor. And the main problem we're going to have is our army logistics. It's difficult to Spain because you already start as a sort of with an empire spread around. It's difficult to get your tonnage and the size of your fleet up enough to get this up to a good level. So I know some of our we've got poor relations with the USA at the minute. They're worse than us, but it's just going to make it difficult when we have land borders with any of the bigger countries. Certainly when they sort of increase theirs with France, we're just going to get invaded, and there's not really a lot our army's going to be able to do about it. We've only got a decent sized army, I suppose, 218,000 men in there. And on the finances wise, we've got a surplus in a minute. What I want to do straight away is get our transport capacity all the way up. This will sort of help our economy in the long term. We've got good economic growth at the minute, which is great. We've got a small economy, so we need to get that as high as we can, as quickly as we can, and we will try and get that boosted up. Tech budget again, we kind of need this to keep up. We're not going to be able to have the biggest fleet. We're not going to be able to keep up with the likes of France and the UK. So we're going to need to try and outmatch them in technology and the quality of our ships, which, again, might be kind of difficult. So I'm going to try and get this as high as possible, just with keeping a surplus at the minute. And in terms of research, I would like to prioritize, we'll have a look at the hulls in a minute, but I would like to prioritize getting some new hulls, getting some improved sort of engines, and the big guns themselves. So we've got Mark 1 in everything at the minute. We can go up to 12 inch, but we're quite close to getting the 13 inch. I'm not going to bother with them until we get at least Mark 2. We're not going to be able to hit much, especially with our rangefinders at the minute. So we could try and get that. If we prioritize that, we'd get that in 13 months. That'll help out a bit. But the base accuracy of these guns isn't going to be too great early on. And what have we got coming in? Light cruiser, a 3,500 ton light cruiser. So tonnage wise, in our shipyards we can only build 8,500 tons at the minute, and our battleship is, so we've got a little bit of room to increase the battleship tonnage, and we could design a new one. Let's have a look at our hulls and see what we can manage to do on that. We can make any improvements. So those battleships, they'll do for now. Probably we start with some kind of funky hulls with Spain. We can't immediately build any of these battleships because we don't have the tonnage capacity in our shipyard. So we need minimum 12,000 tons for that battleship and 10,900 tons for that one. So we're already quite a way off that, being able to build those. Upgrades to the shipyards are quite expensive, so we're going to have to see what we can do about that. In terms of the other one, so we've got modified barbette ship, which is what our current battleships are based on. We have kind of a standard armoured cruiser hull, which is what our current armoured cruisers are based on. We could go for the light version, which might end up being cheaper for us. Resistance wise, floatability, they're about the same. This one's more stable, so it might be better to kind of switch to these, see what we can do in this. Or we've got a turreted cruiser. It's gonna interesting. So we've got 4 side kind of barbettes on that. We might be able to chuck a bunch of heavy guns on this and see how we do. But our tonnage limits on these ships at the minute are probably the limiting factor. We might get a few new battleship hulls. The Spanish, around the sort of turn of the century time, around this sort of time, they did have one battleship, Peleo, I believe, which had a couple of sort of side-mounted main guns like this. So we might be able to have a look at doing something like that. Light cruiser-wise, Light Cruiser 1, that's not too bad. And then we've got a few kind of weird and wonderful ones. Master Cruiser, 3-mast cruiser. All about the same. We do have this weird kind of gunboat ship, which can go up to nearly 3,000 tons. Pretty slow, 16.5 optimal speed, but might be fun to stick a few of these in the Empire somewhere and see how they fare about. Oh, it looks like we're going to go to war with the Americans. First of all, torpedo cruiser, and then normal torpedo boat hull. So I might see if we can unlock a few techs first before we do any redesigns, see how the fleet's kind of distributed, and looks like we're going to war with the Americans pretty soonish, so I'm sure we'll need some more battleships and armored cruisers once we start getting destroyed. Our fleet is, if we look at the area, so we've got a couple of battleships and light cruisers in the Bay of Biscay, a couple of battleships in the Caribbean with fairly decent sized cruiser force, some torpedo boats sprinkled around, and then the rest of so we've got a battleship here in the North Atlantic, so we'll probably join those up with the ones in the Bay of Biscay. And then everything else is kind of spread around the place, cruiser-wise, torpedo boats. So let's form up a main fleet at, let's put them in Cadiz. So we had a battleship at wherever, so let's move those all to Cadiz. What's the limit there? 70,000 tons. We're probably not going to get anywhere near that in a minute with the size of our current battleships. A couple of light cruisers, I'll leave them in the Bay of Biscay, and then we've got a couple more battleships and a light cruiser. Why don't we move those down to Cadiz as well? Consolidate a force there. We'll leave a couple of cruisers in the Mediterranean. Torpedo boats. Let's move one of the armoured cruisers over as well to Cadiz. What are we doing? We'll move that one over, and then what have we got at Barcelona? Just a light cruiser. So we'll leave those for now, and then over in the Caribbean, we're probably going to have to reinforce this, given we're going to go to war by the looks of things with America. Fairly sharpish. Relations with everyone else is pretty good at the minute. So one of the rules for this was that I was going to have to decrease the relations, or increase the tensions rather, with at least, well, I can do one country turn, but one country turn as long as I'm not using my political action for like a naval invasion or probably desperately asking for peace. So given that we're probably going to be end up at war with the US soonish, let's just go for it straight away. The US doesn't really have any possessions that we'll be interested in, but if we manage to win a war, we could probably do with the cash, given our finances already are minus 3 million. Now we've got some ships at sea. We'll leave those as they are. This shipyard side we could probably desperately do with getting increased as soon as possible. This is madly expensive. So just to build 500 tons worth, it's 15 million. We're a long way off being able to get up to one of those battleship hulls, but we could possibly get to the other one we had available. Let's just check what that figure was again. So this one we need 12,000 tons. That's a long way off, and then for this one we need, well, this is a long way off. We need basically another 2,500 tonnage. So let's see if we can build that and try and get some better battleships out. And reload. So we'll try and settle the finances, so we are at least getting that start to build. So I mean, that's very expensive. That just gets us over the line. So 16 months. So in theory, let's see what that does to our finances. Oh, not too bad. Okay. Once our ships get back into port, that'll go down a bit. We will just for now we'll bump the crew training down a little bit. I think our crew poolers are all going to be cadets anyway at this point. So and we're okay on numbers. So as long as our fleet doesn't get entirely wiped out, we should be okay. So that's all I'm going to do for now. We can't build submarines or anything yet. I'm not going to put any priorities at the minute into research. I'd like everything, just we've got a couple of things kind of almost there as well anyway, so we'll try and get things to fairly evenly unlock at the minute. I'd like to get the rangefinders, but until we get some better big guns, we're not going to be able to hit much from any sort of range anyway. So let's go on to the next turn and see what happens in the world. So we'll start getting some events soon. With the events as well as decreasing the relations with everyone each term, if we get any events where we are asked if we've got a choice between sort of paying any money to anyone or basically annoying them and decreasing our relations with them, we'll go for the latter. I'm not expecting this playthrough to go all the way through to the end of the game. It's kind of let's have a bit of fun, see how far we can get, and see what happens really. So okay, we've already got something. So press accuses you and your staff of delays and disruption of ship construction contracts. What is your answer? So we can take the hit to our prestige. We're already in negative prestige, but we're okay for now, obviously. Start of the game. We can lose some money, or we can gain some money. So it's slander invented by political parties of the opposition. In fact, the country fleet is underfunded due to difficult economic situations of the country. So we can get an immediate cash boost and an increase in our naval budget. It does come at the expense of a small GDP hit and some unrest. Our unrest isn't too bad, but I mean, we'll take that for now. The GDP, I do want to get it sort of bumping up, but we've got quite good growth at the minute, so we'll take the hit, and we need to finance those shipyards. So Suez Canal is opened, so controlled by Ottoman Empire at the minute, and Bosphorus Strait is also controlled by the Ottoman Empire. Dardanelles Strait the same. Danish Strait currently held by Denmark. Øresund the same. Singapore Strait, British Empire currently holds that. Strait of Gibraltar, again, British Empire holds that. If we go to war with Britain, we'll try and get Gibraltar from them just so we can control that. And the Ottomans have signed a special deal with the Chinese Empire. France tried to provoke us, but no increase there. British have provoked us, and we've got some reduction in relations with the US. So yeah, so the Straits, Ottomans hold at the minute. I will be accepting sort of deals with minor countries. It's quite a good income source. I doubt they'll be able to help me much when it comes to any warfare, but we'll see. Maybe in the Med if the Ottoman Empire wants to join up with us, but probably not much elsewhere. So we did have a ship building as well. So let's just see. We've still got a couple of ships at sea. A torpedo boats. It's just commissioning now. I might build a couple more torpedo boats actually, just so they are spread around. So our logistics is pitiful basically, and we need to try and do everything we can. It won't help that much obviously because they're tiny tonnage. They're only 268 tons. So let's build a couple of those. We'll build 3 of those. It's not much in terms of expense. We got that boost from the 8 million, and we're only losing 2.5 million per turn at the minute. Once we get this done, we'll have a look at doing another battleship, unless we do kind of an interim one because it was over a year, and then we'll have to build the battleship. So a couple of years away from that. But if we can get something unlocked, yeah, I mean, tempted to go for the 13-inch. Although we won't be able to hit much, when we do hit something with a 13-inch, we'll obviously probably penetrate at the ranges we're going to be engaging in. Might be useful to... Oh, it's only fast propulsion. Doesn't really help us range-wise. I'd like to get better range torpedoes. Hull construction. So hull construction, we kind of improves the construction quality and gives you a bit of weight and stuff. This is the kind of one that we're more interested in. It gives you more battleship hulls. I think until we can build one of our existing hulls, it's probably not worth prioritizing that at the minute. We're not going to have anything unlock in the short term, so I'm actually just going to skip on a few turns and see what's happening. So we're already nearly at war with the US, so let's do someone else this turn. So who... I'd like to try and avoid the British as long as possible. Everyone else kind of like doesn't mind us at the minute, but in terms of who we want to take territories off, let's kind of have a look. Problem with Spain, because our army logistics is so low, we can't really win any land wars. So expanding at the minute, it kind of helps increase our income, but we'll just lose them in land wars with major powers. And then if we do kind of try and take more of the Caribbean islands, we're just going to end up having low army logistics because our fleet's so small at the minute. It really is our GDP that we need to try and increase. Again, I'm not an expert on the game, so if anything I'm saying is wrong, please do leave a comment, but we'll see how we go. So let's just skip on another turn and see where we end up. We should probably have a look at what the United States actually has ship-wise as well, but we'll have a look at that when the turn ends. So we've got our 3 torpedo boats building now. So our fleet's quite a decent size, really. I did a Spanish game before, and I built the ships myself, and I kind of made them best they could be, and so expensive I ended up with kind of like 20 ships or something, which wasn't really enough. So Austro-Hungarians are already replacing their head of the Admiralty. Okay, so new cruiser design, so we can make our light cruisers up to 3,500 tons. Probably won't build one that big, as it'll be bigger than our existing armoured cruisers. Argentina's signed an alliance with Germany, Arabia with the Italian Empire, and let's have a look what the US has in terms of ships. So about the same, really. 5 battleships versus our 5. We've got 1 more armoured cruiser. We've got more light cruisers, and just got 1 more torpedo boat. So we are slightly bigger than them, but they have battleships. They're building 6. They've got 24% on their naval power rating. We've only got 13, and their economy is not that much bigger than us. At the minute, obviously, we're in 1890. It's not increasing that much. Oh, sorry, no, it is 12% versus our 6. So they're already pulling ahead. We'll try and have a quick war and try and end that fairly quickly with them. Italians might be a good one to go after. They've only got armoured cruisers, and we might be able to take those out. So we've got our torpedo boats building now. It'll take 5 months. Our shipyards are 12% done. Yeah, that gets us up to I think it was 10,400 on that other battleship hull. And by the time we get there, we should hopefully have these bigger guns. And I might put a priority on rangefinders, actually. Just for now. There's nothing else kind of like desperate for. We're going to get gun layout, 7-inch casement guns soon anyway. We're going to get some enhancement on the cylinders. I really would like that rangefinder to go on some new ships though, so we'll move on. And have I already forgot, we just got our casement 6-inch Korean Empire signed an agreement with the Austro-Hungarians, Sweden with the Germans, and Greece have taken up arms against the Ottoman Empire in Crete. So battles going on there. And did I already forget to increase my tension with someone? I might have done. I'm going to go with the Italians, just because fleet-wise, I mean, they might be building some battleships, but they don't have any at the minute. So we'll try and I think we could probably take them if we concentrate our fleet in a war at the minute. I'll probably change. I mean, Japan only has 3 battleships, but it's a long way away. We want to keep our fleet, if we can, sort of concentrated around Spain, North Atlantic, maybe over to the Caribbean, and it's probably our best chance. Okay, so we'll move on a few turns, and we'll come back once something interesting happens on here. Okay, so it's in the next turn, but we failed to increase tensions with the Italian Empire, so we lose some prestige. This might be one of the problems with this playthrough, because we're trying to worsen tensions, increase tensions all the time. If we keep failing, we're going to lose prestige, and obviously we're probably going to make it easier to get sacked. Like I say, might be a short campaign, but we'll see how long we last. I'm going to try the Italians again, and I can't, because we did it last turn and failed. So I'm going to let's just try and get in that war with the Americans. So we'll increase the tensions there. Our torpedo boats are still building. We've got a small surplus here now with our ship builds. Now our ships are back at sea. So in these instances, I'm going to try and kind of balance the budget, just sort of even, maybe increasing just slightly every turn if we can. And as our economy increases, this is kind of why I'm not building any ships at the minute. I kind of want to get a good start on the tech budget. So any surplus that we have, without going negative, we're going to put into the tech budget and try and get some of these unlocks faster. We're only 10 months away from those rangefinders now. Submarines, it's going to be a long time before we can get those. I'm not really going to bother. They're a bit annoying anyway. So we went with the Americans there. We'll move on one more turn, and then we'll probably wrap up the episode there for now. Just sort of the introduction and give you a flavour of what I'm trying to do. So our balance has gone up again then. So again, I'll bump up the tech budget. Yeah, so we'll leave it there. So if you enjoy this, subscribe for more. I'm going to be mainly focusing on sort of strategy games, management games. I kind of hate endgames. Well, not hate, but I get bored of endgame in kind of grand strategy and strategy games. It gets a little bit boring. So I'm probably going to do more like this, where it's kind of like just try and annoy everyone. Have a few quick campaigns where we probably lose, but see how long we can last. And I find that far more fun than always winning all the time. So you'll probably see I'm pretty bad at these games, so we probably have a lot of failures. Anyway, yeah, see you next time.